portrait tulip, the center acute and deep, the scent delicate, the petals gentle but sturdy. I didn't always know this. I learned this in the Vagina workshop. I learned this from a woman who runs the Vagina workshop, a woman who believes in vaginas, who really sees vaginas, who helps other women see their own vaginas by seeing other women's vaginas. In the workshop, we were asked to draw a picture of our own unique, beautiful, fabulous vagina. That's what she called it. She wanted to know what our own unique, beautiful, fabulous vagina looked like to us. One woman who was pregnant drew a big red mouth screaming with coins spilling out. Another, very skinny woman, drew a big serving plate with a kind of Devonshire pattern on it. I drew a big black dot with little squiggly lines around it. The black dot was equal to a black hole in space, and the little squiggly lines were meant to be people or things or just your basic atoms that got lost in there. I had always thought of my vagina as an anatomical vacuum, randomly sucking up particles and objects in its surrounding environment. I did not think of my vagina in practical or biological terms. I did not, for example, see it as something attached to me. In the workshop, we were asked to look at our vaginas using hand mirrors. Then, after a careful examination, we were to verbally report to the group what we saw. Now, I must tell you, up until this point, everything I knew about my vagina was based on hearsay or invention. I had never really seen the thing. Never occurred to me to look at it. My vagina existed for me on some abstract plane. Well, it seemed so reductive and awkward looking at our vaginas like we were in the workshop on a shiny new mat with our hand mirrors. It reminded me of how the early astronomers must have felt with their primitive telescopes. Well, it seemed so unsettling at first, my vagina. Like the first time you see a fish cut open and you discover this whole bloody, complex world inside, right under the skin. And the thing that surprised me the most were the layers. Layers inside layers, opening into more layers. My vagina amazed me. And I couldn't speak when it came out from the workshop. I was speechless. I had awakened what the woman in the workshop called vaginal wonder. I just wanted to lay there on my mat, my legs spread, examining my vagina forever. It was better than the Grand Canyon, ancient and full of grace. It had the innocence and freshness of a proper English garden. It was funny, very funny. It made me laugh. We could hide and seek, open and close. Then the woman who ran the workshop asked how many women in the workshop had had orgasms. 2 women tentatively raised their hands. I didn't raise my hand, but I had had orgasms. I didn't raise my hand because, well, they were accidental orgasms. They happened to me. They happened in my dreams, and I would wake in splendor. They happened a lot in water, mostly in the bath, once in Cape Cod. They happened on horses, on bicycles, sometimes on the treadmill at the gym. I didn't raise my hand because, well, although I had had orgasms, I did not know how to make one happen. Well, I thought it was a mystical, magical thing, and I didn't want to interfere. It felt wrong getting involved, contrived, manipulated. It felt Hollywood. The surprise would be gone, and the mystery. The problem, of course, was the surprise had been been gone for almost 2 years. Why, hadn't had a magical accidental orgasm in a long time, and I was frantic. That's why I was in the Vagina workshop. Then the moment came that I both dreaded and longed for. The women who ran the workshop asked us to take out our hand mirrors again and see if we could locate our clitoris. We were there, the group of us women, on our mats, on our backs, searching for our spots, our locus, our reason. And I don't know why, but I started crying. Maybe it was sheer embarrassment. Maybe it was knowing that I had to give up the fantasy, the enormous life-consuming fantasy that someone or something was going to do this for me. That someone was coming to lead my life, to choose direction, to give me orgasms. I could feel the panic coming, the simultaneous terror and realization that I had avoided finding my clitoris, had rationalized it as mainstream and consumerist because I was in fact terrified that I did not have a clitoris. Terrified that I was one of those constitutionally incapables, one of those frigid, dead, shut down, dry, bitter apricot tasting. Oh my God. I lay there, looking for my spot, reaching with my fingers, and all I could think about was when I was 10 and lost my gold ring with the emeralds in a lake, how I kept diving over and over to the bottom, running my hands over stones and bottle caps and fish and slimy stuff, but never my ring. Oh, the panic I felt! I knew I'd be punished. Then the woman who ran the workshop saw my insane scrambling, sweating, and heavy breathing. She came over and I told her, "It's gone, it's gone. I've lost my clitoris. I shouldn't have worn it swimming." The woman who ran the workshop laughed. She came over. She calmly stroked my forehead. She told me, "My clitoris is not something I could lose." It was me, she said. The essence of me. It was both the doorbell to my house and the house itself. I didn't have to find it. I had to be it. Be it. Be my clitoris. Be my clitoris. I lay back and closed my eyes. I put the mirror down. I watched myself, floating above myself. I watched as I slowly began to approach myself and re-enter. I felt like an astronaut re-entering the surface of the earth, and it was very quiet, this re-entry, quiet and gentle. I bounced and landed and bounced, and I came into my own muscles and blood and cells, and then I slid into my vagina. It was all warm and pulsing and young and ready and alive. And then, without looking, with my eyes still closed, I put my finger on something that had suddenly become me. There was a little quivering at first, which urged me to stay. And the quivering became a quake, an eruption, layers dividing and subdividing. Then the quake broke into an ancient horizon of silence and light, which opened onto a plane of colors and music and longing and innocence, and I felt connection. Calling connection as I lay there thrashing about on my little blue mat. My vagina is a shell, a tulip, destiny. I am arriving as I am beginning to